It's Monday, September 23rd, 2024. I'm back at my out yard here. I would rather be in my honey house extracting the last 100 deeps of honey that I've got sitting in there. But I'm back here. I'm a little grumpy this morning. I've been feeling I'm quite stressed. I'm quite wore out, very wore out. And things that cause me extra work really upset me because I don't have that extra energy. So things like wax moths are always trying to kill my equipment. Bears are always trying to kill my hives. Mites are always trying to kill my bees. I spend so much time trying to battle all these things. But I guess if it wasn't for this stuff, anybody could do it, right? So farmers are hauling hay down the road here. That's what you hear in the back. So I'm back here with my formic acid because I got my mite wash numbers back. Now before I go into that, I'll set the stage as to context as to what's going on here. My pre-treatment sample was done August 27th. So there was a lot more sealed brood on August 27th than there is on the 23rd. I guess these were done like the 19th or 19th, I think, of September. So there are a lot more of the mites that are in the hive are now on the bees. So they are now subject to the mite wash. The mites in the cells are not. So your wash is inherently going to be a lower number at that point. And the other thing, because this is the first time I've used this treatment, I think I could have done it better. I don't think I did it wrong, but I could have done it better. I did a treatment on a Friday. I did the next treatment on a Friday, and I've only done the 2 so far. I don't think I should have waited that long. I think I should have waited 3 to 4 days as an interval, not 7. Because the mite wash has showed almost without exception the mite load, the mites in the wash, the percentage has increased after 2 rounds of formic acid. So what's the formic acid do when you ask? Well, I don't know. So you'd think the second round of formic acid would have done the trick, I'd think. But what do I know? So here I am again. Now, I had considered breaking out the vaporizer and bringing over some oxalic acid vapor because I know that stuff is effective. That stuff is very effective. And the brood level in the hive right now is very low. The sealed brood, that is. So it would be very effective. It's windy here. Wow. It's a sheltered yard and the wind is just, there's one little open spot here that lets the wind in and it's coming right from that direction. Anyway, so I'm not in a very good mood. I'd rather be extracting, but rural mites are interrupting that. I'll show you what I did here just today. It's something I saw on a video that Phil the Bee Man did when he was using this method, the dry lock pads and the formic acid. So what I'm going to do here, what I was doing before, is I was just putting my dry lock pads in a pail. I'd just pour formic acid over them, let them sit a couple of minutes, maybe stir them around, and then I would take them with my tongs, my kitchen tongs, and put them in a second pail, just so they weren't sitting in a pool of formic acid and, end up coming out with too much soaked into them. But what I've got here now is I've got a different pail. It's a nice new clean pail. And I've also got another pail that has holes in the bottom. Well, I put the holes there. It just wasn't a pail I found with holes in the bottom. And these pails nest nicely. And they give me about 1.5 inches gap at the bottom. So what I'm planning to do here is I'm planning to still put my dry lock pads in this pail, put the formic acid in this pail, soak them real nice, and then pick them out with my tongs, put them in my pail with the holes, and then they can drip down. I don't want too much acid in the bottom of that pail because then it'll fill up and there'd be no point. So I think that's what Phil the Bee Man was doing, and it sounds like a really simple and effective way to do this. So I got 18 colonies here I need to do, and guess what? I've come all the way to this outyard. This outyard is quite a few miles from my house, about 10 miles, I guess. And I forgot my veil. So this is going to be really interesting. I don't know if I can even do this. So this is my PPE right here, and I've got a smoker, and the smoker is going to get tuned up, and we're going to be working in lots and lots of smoke to do this, because I've got to lift the pails off, and I've got to lift the lid and put a new formic acid pad on there. I didn't bring my tripod along, I'm sorry, so I'm not going to really be able to be holding the camera while I do this. I need both hands. So wish me luck. Say a prayer for me. Hopefully I don't get stung in the face too much. Phil the Bee Man works all the time without a veil, so maybe I can too. Maybe that's my next progression, no gloves, short pants, no jacket, no veil. Maybe we'll just do that. Thanks for watching. Well, that didn't take long, and I didn't get stung even once. Thought it was going to be close there a couple of times, but I was just really careful. Work really slow, methodically, lots and lots of smoke. And they've got another round of formic on them. Now, I'm thinking what I should be doing is replacing that pad every 3 to 4 days. So that's, say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I could replace. I think Friday's my day in Winnipeg again. So I better bank on doing this again on Thursday. What a bother. What a bother. Especially this time. I need every day in the honey house I can get. So anyway, I'm going to go home and get a veil, and then I'll go to the other outyard. It's much closer to home. And do it all again. And then do it at home. The home yard is a big yard. So I hope the weather holds out. It's very overcast, and I think it might rain later on. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. It's just a quick intro here today because there's nothing really different happening. I left you yesterday at the outyard, and I mentioned that I hope it doesn't rain. Well, it did rain. And I got my outyards treated, which was nice. And so now today I'm going to work through the home yard here. There's a lot more colonies here, but this won't take a real long time. It might take me an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. The worst thing is I've just filled all these pails, so I need to remove the pails to do my treatments. Now I'll just mention something here that I've done. There's a lot of people follow the saga pretty closely. These first 10 colonies that you see here, there's 4 and 4 and 2 more, of course. Now they have received ApiTablet only this fall. I just want to see what effect this ApiTablet's going to have. There's some reviews. The manufacturer says it's very good for the bees and makes them very healthy. So I want to see for myself. So I just took there's a kind of a good cross section of different queen sources here. They're all 24 queens. They're not all 24s. This is a 23. So this is one of the remaining queens from last year. And the rest of them are splits I made. Actually, these 2 are splits I made. This one is a nuke I bought from a gentleman here this summer. So there's, like I say, a bit of a cross section. And we have sampled some of them to get some mite counts. But I just want to see how the bees, react to that ApiTablet. I don't want to go full bore with the ApiTablet everywhere alone. I have put ApiTablet on all of them because last year I did an experiment with to see how the bees would respond to the Appy tablet over the winter, and I found that it really wasn't detrimental to them. Didn't have a detrimental effect. The Appy tablet treated hives, which I can see there's a mark here. This is one of them. Actually had a higher survivorship than the non-Appy tablet hives. So there's that. So I'm confident that it's not bad for the bees. And so now I want to see, kind of how good for the bees it is. So I'm not treating these with formic acid at all. You know, I'm hoping that they can just take care of themselves, and we'll see. Some of these were, some of the ones that we sampled. This was a 1.7%, August 27th, and this was a 6.2, and this was a 14. So yeah, there were some higher mite counts there. So I'm not sure really what the dynamic is going to be there, but I've decided I need to become confident with the different products. So I need to see, not only is it not going to kill the bees, but is it going to do them any good, and is it going to give me my investment back? Because all this stuff costs money, and when you're, you can maybe spend $5 on a treatment, but when you're spending $5 on a treatment 150 times, you can do the math. $750 if you can't. That's a lot of dough. So the decision costs you that much. It's not just the treatment, right? I'm watching a video by Phil B-Man, and he mentioned, people don't really mention the cost. We know the cost per colony. ApiVar is $6, and Formic Pro is $6, and on and on and on. But the overall cost, boy, when you're running 1,000 colonies or 2,000 colonies, I'm not quite sure how many he's running, but it's between 1,500 and 2,000, I believe. And I think right now it's closer to 2,000. So he said he just went out and blew $10,000 on ApiVar, I think. Or no, it wasn't ApiVar, it was Thymovar or something like that. But anyway, go over to Phil's channel, Phil the Bee-Man, and he's been talking about his mite loads and mite shakes and treatment results and whatnot. So it's pretty interesting data. He's a very, very data-specific person, which is really great. You watch that, you get good information. So that's really all I have to say, and I'm just gonna put pads on here. My system was working great there to soak the pads in a pail and then transfer them to my pail with the holes in it. Another Phil the Bee-Man thing. I learned that off his channel, and that worked really great. So with the other yards, I can easily count. Well, there's 18 here, there's 22 there. This yard, I have no idea how many it's going to take, because the doubles here are going to take 2. The singles take 1. I don't think it's really strong enough to really do them a lot of harm. The guys that were teaching me how to use this said that they never had a queen problem, like some people say with Formic Pro. I don't want to bash Formic Pro either. It's a fine product. It's just one of those things, and it's largely cost. I do my entire apiary for $150, whereas something like ApiVar or Formic Pro, I'm doing my entire apiary for $900, right? So it's a lot of dough. Now, Formic Pro is a great product. You put those pads on there and you walk away. I can be spending my time in the honey house right now, but not out here putting new pads on. So this takes some effort. It takes some more work. I'm saving in my pocketbook, and hopefully I'm maybe not being as harsh on the queens, but it definitely is some work. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you sticking with this, and I'll try to get some more specific data on the mite washes to you. I was still waiting for some clarification on what we were seeing, and that's because, again, I hired a friend to come and do washes, because every hour or two that I don't have to spend away from the honey house really does my stress level good. I need to get that done. That's the culmination, right? If you don't harvest the honey, I mean, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We all keep bees because we love bees, but the long and short of it is somebody's got to pay the bills, and that honey in the pail is what pays the bills. Not, that's why this suffers way too often. There's too many conflicts this time of year. So I'll stop rambling and get to work. Thanks for watching. Got them all treated now for the third time. And as I was working, I kind of thought, I should try this thing out. I bought myself something recently. If you know anything about me, I'm kind of a go big or go home kind of guy. And I saw this big smoker, and I had to have it. At least I had to try it. So I'm going to give you my first impressions of it. It looks really big. It's actually the burn chamber, the barrel is not quite as tall as my 11-inch Dayton. Now, I'm still a big proponent of Dayton smoker. I think they're superior build quality. I can tell the weight of this thing. This one weighs nothing compared to this one, but this one's actually got a lot of soot and what inside it, so it really needs to be cleaned. So in that regard, it kind of doesn't work as well as it should, because it's kind of clogged up. But it's still a very high quality smoker, and it's my favorite. The things I like about this smoker, not least of which is it's American made. So I really am a proponent of domestic manufacturing. Or domestic manufacturing is really taking a hit these days, and I love it when a domestic product is superior, and I'll pay the extra to get that product. That's a very good product. So this one actually has a finger guard here. On this 11-inch smoker, this finger guard is important. I have this same smoker. I have a second one. It has no finger guard. And because it's 11-inch smoker, it does get pretty hot here. The 7-inch smoker, where the barrel is only this high, it's not as bad. But if you're going to get the 11-inch, definitely get the one with the finger guard here. I mean, it's got the heat shield here, but that's a separate finger guard on the back. So this one's really good. The Dayton is the only one I've ever seen, and I can't really show you, but on the bellows, you can see the air comes out at the bottom of the bellows here, but in the middle here, right, I can just touch it with my finger, in the center, you can just see another hole, and that's an inlet. And inside that hole, there's I don't know if it's leather, but let's call it leather, valve. So when you have it compressed and you let the bellows go, then that valve in there opens and lets the air in. So that hole is larger than the hole in the bottom. So what that does is it prevents the bellows from sucking fire out of the firebox. And I've seen that happen on smokers that don't have a second hole. People have told me that they've actually had their smoker burned down, because that's wood. That's wood, so that could start on fire. So that's superior. The Dayton has a fairly strong spring. When I'm starting my smoker, sometimes you have to operate the bellows a lot to get it going, and sometimes it gets kind of tiring on the hand. I have to change and then use both hands and whatnot. So definitely got a strong spring. One of the nice things about that is I can pick this smoker up like this without squeezing the bellows, right? Which I don't know why that's a big deal, but I get used to doing that. I can grab it. It's a little bit of a lip here, front and back. It's got a really nice strong handle. This is one of the ways you can distinguish a Dayton smoker. I don't know if any of the others use this wire style handle on there. And also the hinge. If you look at this hinge, how it sits over here, I just kind of learned why that's important. It's because you get the lid to this point, and if there's any any of your wood chips or fuel sitting here, it'll fall out before you close it. And I'll demonstrate that on the other one. What's missing on this one, which it would be a nicety, is what I call a spark arrestor. It's just a plate here with holes in it. Keeps your fuel from falling out. I use wood chips, so I do have the fuel come falling out from time to time. Now, this one has just the wire part goes down below here so that you know, it doesn't sit flat on something and cause it to melt or burn. You know, I can with confidence set it on there because it sits on the bellows and there. It doesn't sit on the back of the burn chamber. Now, this one, you can see what a long snout it has. And now it's new, so it's not all gunked up with soot. So when I squeeze that, it really makes the smoke go. There's a very, very tiny breeze, and a breeze is always a problem with your smoker. So I was actually blowing the smoke against the breeze at times. I can't carry this one without squeezing the bellows. The spring is very soft. There's not really any ridge here to catch my fingers. But I have had people, especially newer beekeepers, some of the ladies, you know, not as big of hands, and they kind of say that the Dayton smokers, the springs in them are a bit tight, and they prefer to have something with a lighter touch. So this definitely does. It's very easy to operate. It does not have a center inlet hole on the bellows, so all the air goes in right out of the same place it comes out. This has a little bit of a different kind of a base, you know, sits there, and that's hot. So I don't know if that base is really the best, but it is what it is. It's got the standard hanger to hang on a box side. I didn't use that, so I don't know how it's sized, if it's sized properly. It's not quite as tall as the Dayton, but the barrel is actually a little bigger. I put them head to head, and the Dayton barrel, where the lid goes on, will actually just barely fit inside this smoker barrel. Now, I'll open this up. It's right full of fuel. It burns really, really well. I suspect it might burn pretty fast and burn through fuel pretty fast. But you can see it has I call it a spark arrestor or a fuel arrestor. keep your fuel from going up the neck. Sometimes I get wood chips to go up into the top of my Dayton, and then it and then I realize my smoker's not working and I don't know why, and then it's just plugged up. Okay, so here's the hinge deal. You see how this hinge is different? And I just happened to cross this. I was loading the smoker, and I got some fuel sitting on the lid here. I was just putting fuel in it, and there was some sitting here. I couldn't get it closed because you see how it closes up like this? So you have to scoot that away and then close it up. It's not the end of the world, but that's a little bit of a difference. The hinge is different in that regard. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. My wood chips that I use have a lot of pitch in them. Look at it, it's just running down there now. And I hear this thing snap, crackle, and popping, so I don't know. Is it just burning that fast in there? I think it really could go through the fuel in a big way. I'm gonna use this for a while, and yeah, and I'll just see what I think of it long term. Like I say, it's definitely a lighter duty thing. That old Dayton, that thing's 10 years old, and there's a few dings in it. You can tell that it's been well used and gone through the ringer, but this one, I don't know if it's certainly going to last as long. It might, you don't know. But yeah, so anyway, I got this at BeeWare's. beewares.co, not com, nothing. It's co.co, beewares.co, and it was priced well. It was priced definitely less than the Dayton, and so you know, if you want a smoker who's got bigger capacity, I like having a smoker with bigger capacity, because you see, I'm out here working hives for many hours, and you know, you keep going back to load your smoker, or you set it down for half an hour to an hour, the wind's blowing and it burns up all the fuel, you go to get it, it ain't working. It's really quite frustrating. So you know, I like to have a bigger smoker, and this one definitely is a bigger smoker. So I have no interest in the seller of these. I mean, I've always had good dealings with the seller, but you know, I don't get any kickbacks. I got no coupon codes. I paid for this with my own money, and you could say that I paid for it with my YouTube money. Maybe I did, but regardless, that's the big smoker from BeeWares. It's worthwhile for sure. All right, now I get to clean up and go back to the honey house, spin out some honey. I'd have lunch first though, because I'm hungry. That happens. You always got to take care of yourself, right? All right. So tomorrow is Wednesday. Probably just extracting tomorrow again, and hopefully Thursday. Friday I got to go to Winnipeg again. So I'll bring you back if there's anything more interesting. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for spending your time with me. Take care and have fun.